Thank you so much for stopping by today. Welcome to my channel, My Lioness Journey. My name is Nechelle. I created my channel as a way to document my healing. For years, I've been trying to find a way to either bandage, bury, forget about, different ways to cope with pain, the pain that I experienced throughout life, from childhood and even as an adult. I mean, of course, I've had some happy times as well, but I created this channel because I'm like, I really have to keep it real with myself. And I'm an introvert, and I feel like, you know what, I am going to embark upon this journey of healing out loud, because I feel like it's important to share this type of information for other people to see that there's someone that's just like me, look like me, may have some similar experiences and possibly even struggles, and if they could get through it, so can I. In today's video, I am choosing to share with you all, because it is a part of my healing journey, I guess I could say, I could use the word battle or experience with depression and suicidal thoughts. I've never attempted, but I've gotten very close. Now, as a kid, I was abused by my mother. I experienced other abuses that I will not talk about in this video, but I did experience physical and verbal abuse. I mean, lots of physical, definitely verbal abuse. And I can remember as young as 8 and 9 feeling suicidal at ages like this, 8, 9, 10. And the physical abuse was very tough. I was also being bullied at school, so I could literally go to school, get my butt kicked at school, and could turn around and get beat up by my mom the same day. It was tough some days. Or it could be in a day that nothing happened, but I just remember having that anxiety, like, oh my God, what do I have to face today, and how could I avoid from anyone being upset with me? But I do remember in particular when I was younger that I would hear my mother talk about me in such a negative, just the words, the things that she would say, and I can't even remember all of that stuff, but I just know it just made me sad as a child. You could imagine you're like in the next room over, whatever, and your mother is speaking loud, she could care less, and she's calling you all kind of names and just saying all kind of stuff about you. And I was an honor roll kid. I didn't understand it. And that would be so painful, because I would be like, man, well, what did I do to make you hate me, to where you have to talk about me in such a manner on the phone with whomever you're talking to? I don't know who you're talking to. I just know that it's not pleasant, and you're talking about me. And I can remember being younger and saying to her that I wanted to commit suicide, because I felt like if she understood that what she's saying is hurting me. Like, I didn't even bring up to her, well, the physical abuse has me feeling suicidal, even though it did. It was hearing these things on top of her already calling me bad names. And I said to my mother several times that I wanted to commit suicide, and this was her response. B word, I don't give a S. It'll only cost $200 to cremate your body. That was her response to a 9-year-old, 8-year-old, these type of ages. Now, by the grace of something beyond me, that is in another realm, I didn't do it. I don't know how, but eventually those thoughts went away. I remember having thoughts like this again when I was in my 20s, but nothing to where I really thought about how, but just more like, man, this is tough. Still hurting about what happened in childhood. My mother is a narcissist, and so she would still do and say things and gossip or whatever, and that was very tough for me, especially when I would go through things and I feel like I want to confide in my mom, and she'll make it seem like I can confide in her only to tell the rest of the family my business. And that was very tough at this time. In my 20s, I was a single parent to 2 children. And so then a time went on that, you know, I would deal with depression, because I dealt with depression as a kid, you know, understandably so, because I'm going through abuse with my mom. I dealt with anxiety because at any time I don't know if I'm going to get hit or yelled. My mom would find a reason just to, I'm like, my goodness, like she would just find a reason. It's almost like sometimes I feel like I would get set up just to be hit. So of course I had anxiety, and it went into my adulthood. So I fast forward the time, and I get into the marriage that I am ending now. And that marriage altogether, if I include separation time, a marriage of 14 and a half years. And excuse me, that marriage was very abusive. A narcissistic husband that was alcoholic. He had different issues like that, and more verbal, financially abusive, and sometimes physically abusive, mentally abusive. And I remember falling into a deep depression. We lived in North Florida. He got a promotion and his job moved us to Maryland. And I remember being in one of the deepest depressions because I felt like I shouldn't have moved, but I remember wanting to move because I wanted to run away from all of the issues from childhood and even the problems we were having in the marriage. And I remember him saying, oh, it'll be like a fresh start, and all of that stuff I said and done, you'll see a difference in me. I'm not going to talk to you this kind of way. I'm never going to hit you again. I'll never get another telephone number. And all of these things he said. And at this time, my older 2 are young adults, and him and I have 2 younger children together. And I remember being extremely depressed. It's cold where we are. I have no friends. I'm lonely. I feel isolated. And the abuse just got nastier. And if I make him mad, I'm told, B, get a job, get out of my house, or take your A back to Florida. It was just despicable. If he had a terrible time at work, some kind of way I got it. I'm just like, I just didn't know what to do. I felt trapped. I felt disgusted. And I remember when I was going through that depression, I remember being so angry with myself. Like, how could you be so stupid? How could you allow yourself to be in a relationship like this with the person and quit your job and just all of this regret and pain? And I also remember feeling like, what in the hell did I do? Like, I was thinking, like, was I evil in a past life? And then I had to come back here and get abused by my mother, get abused by kids in school, experience other forms of abuse that I'm not going to talk about right now, have a abusive relationship that was romantic before his time, get in a marriage with him and endure abuse. And I'm like, God, I must have been like evil before I came here and got sent here and had to endure this. Like, I remember feeling these kind of ways because I didn't understand it. And I remember feeling hopeless, like I don't have a job, I don't have savings, I don't have retirement, I don't have a home that I can call my own, I don't own anything except for my car. Why am I here? Am I here just to be a doormat? I'm trying to figure out what's my purpose, what could I do? I feel like I want to help people in some type of capacity, but I couldn't even help myself. And so I remember just being sad. And I remember him, when he would see me depressed, he would call me all types of names, call me crazy. And in his other words, I don't want to say something to offend someone, but these are things that he would say. So I pray that this does not offend you, but based off of how I dealt with the depression, I would kind of just be off to a room. He would call me bipolar, crazy, stupid. I'm not going to allow your depression to bring me down. And so then I started feeling like some type of burden, some type of financial burden, a burden in my own marriage, even though I'm being abused, I'm being hit or yelled at or cursed at or called all type of B words, dumb B, stupid B, you ain't gonna be anything, you don't even deserve your life, being told this type of stuff. And I remember at this point, I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I knew how I wanted to do it. I'm not going to tell you all what method, but I knew I was going to do it that way. But I remember looking around, we were renting a townhouse, and I couldn't figure out a spot. I couldn't figure out a spot. And I was like, man, I can't find a good spot. And I remember thinking, I don't want the younger two to find me. I wanted him to find me, but not the younger two. And I was like, how do I guarantee that? And I could never figure that out. And then the other thing I remember thinking, like, I go to the store or somewhere and start getting things. Am I going to raise suspicions? I don't want anyone to be suspicious and get me Baker's Act or something. I remember thinking like that. And at this time, I met someone, because this isn't my first time doing YouTube. I had a YouTube channel where I was speaking about couponing, and I met a fellow YouTuber. And I never met her in person, and she lives up north. Beautiful, beautiful soul. I call her a sister, and I've never met this beautiful soul in person. And I tell you, it was something about being able to talk to her that kind of helped me to not think about it as much as I was thinking about it. Being able to have her conversation, or to laugh, or to be able to tell her things that I felt comfortable with sharing at that time. Or being able to be distracted and just like, hey, tell me what's going on with you. Or being able to help each other out and give each other advice with whatever it is that we wanted to give each other advice about. And I find that very comforting. And if you are watching, you know who you are. I am extremely grateful and thankful to you, because I can honestly say that had I not had your sincere, genuine love and kindness and companionship, I don't know. I just don't know. Also, during this time, I remember thinking about all of my children and how would this affect them? Like, what if they have great work to do here on this planet? And if I do this, how does that affect their lives? Will they be able to follow on with what they have done? Because at this point, I'm feeling like I'm a burden to anyone. I'm feeling like I'm a waste of life. I just came here to be walked over, trampled over. I'm stupid. I'm dumb. I allowed this man in my life to hurt me. I can't call my own mom. She's just going to gossip about me. I can't call a dad. He's not in a position to take me in with some kids. I don't have a thing. I'm broke. I feel disgusted. I've gone to school. The degree is not doing anything for me. I just feel hopeless at this time. Some kind of way, I was able to, and this had to be around 2017 when I decided that enough was enough, and I gotta do what I gotta do. It was like an awakening started to say that I have to fight for my own life and fight for my ability to do the things that I've always wanted to do, like to start trying to figure out what's my purpose, because at least if I can figure out what I'm good at or a purpose, then I could have something to fight for. And starting to figure out, well, what are you interested in, and convincing myself that it's not too late. So that kind of helped some, although I was still going through the depression and anxiety and the abuse. And then we eventually moved from Maryland to South Florida. And I remember doing fine for a little while, and the abuse got worse, and the disrespect and being hit and the things that were said, it got worse. It got worse. And you don't have anything, and you can't even buy yourself a coffee drink without me, and you don't have a pot to piss in, a window to throw it out of, and you're be like your B mother, and you ain't this, and it just wore down on me. And I remember thinking, like, damn, you don't even have money to get yourself out of this craziness that you want to get out of. So here I go again, beating myself up again, feeling like I can't tell friends. It's like I'm telling them some things, but at this time I'm not telling them everything. And I remember having the same thought. Okay, I'm going to look around. I already know how I want to do this. And this time, I found the right spot. I said, okay, this would be the spot. This would be a perfect spot. And I started reaching out. I remember during this time, I would reach out to people that lived in another part of Florida, which where I am now. And I would send hints. And I would say something like, I would tell them about an argument, and I would say something like, what's the point of life if you're just going to be here to be hurt? If you're just here to hurt and not do anything else? I would say stuff like that. I can't remember exactly. And I'll get responses like, hey, what are you talking about? And I'll be like, oh, I'm just saying. Just saying. And I remember one day, that feeling was so strong because I had done things like that and reached out, and no one ever really picked up the phone and said to me, what are you talking about? How are you feeling right now? Like, they were like, are you okay? Well, let me know. And then kind of brush it off, but no one really picked up that phone and say, hey, what you just said to me was concerning. What's going on? Do we need to take a trip where you are? So I remember one day it was really, really strong. It was really strong. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get the things that I need. And I said, I'm not even going to reach out to friends because they don't care. That's how I felt. I'm not saying that they don't care. I'm saying that's how I felt. That was the mind frame, the mentality, the mind state, I guess is what I'm trying to say, that I was in. And I'm sobbing. I'm sitting on the side of the bed, basically the bedroom that started out as a safe haven and ended up turning into a personal hell, because I would always go in that room to kind of like shield myself from whatever may happen. And I remember I'm sobbing and I'm crying. And I said, okay, I'm going to call the suicide hotline. And I was like, no, if I call, they're going to Baker's Act me. I don't want to be Baker's Act. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to go on the internet and just read what they have to say. And I don't remember verbatim how the verbiage went, but it was something like, wait before you do anything, like read this. And I remember one of the things it said was, you really don't want to take your life, you just want to stop hurting. And I remember saying, yes, like someone gets it. I just want to stop hurting. And I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that I allowed myself to get into a relationship like this, because the relationship moved fast. We married 4 months after knowing each other. And because of things I've done in my past, I was ashamed, and people may judge me, like people already said I wouldn't even get a husband or worthy of a husband, or you married him so fast, or I just had all these thoughts, or I need to stay because the kids, and you know, the younger two need to have both parents, and staying for every other reason but myself. And now that I want to go, I don't have the resources. I don't know where I'm going to stay. So I felt stuck and trapped, and I felt like the only way to relieve myself of the pain and to also not be a burden to my older children or any of my children was to not be here. And so when I saw that, I was like, yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I just don't want my children to find me still going back and forth with that. It is fair to say that during that time, I didn't see the worth in myself, but I could see all the potential in my children, because again, I was kind of conditioned that way, to see the potential in everyone else but me. And I'm thankful, because that's what it took to allow me to sit here today to be able to share the story. But the love that I have for my children, and thinking about the pain that it may cause them for me to not be around, to not try, is the only reason why I'm sitting here today. But honestly, on that day, it almost wasn't enough. It just almost wasn't enough. And so the love that I have for them, and just wanting to see them have a better life, and to see them grow up and be prosperous in any way they wanted to be prosperous, and to be their biggest support and cheerleader. And all of those things is what motivated me, not myself. Now I'm in a better place. I still deal with depression and anxiety. I am still healing, and there are some things that happen that still really hurts and it really stings, but I am thankful that I don't go that dark, because now I'm starting to see purpose. I'm starting to see where I can give back and enjoying some things in life, and understanding, like for example with my mother was abused, and she was a hurting soul. It doesn't make right what she done. She needed help. And understanding that just because she is my mother doesn't mean that I have to have this unhealthy relationship with her. Now at this moment, she's very religious, and you know, that's what she falls on, and that's what she used. And I honestly feel like it's something that she uses to not have to face or admit the things that she said and done. But that's her journey, and that's something that she would have to discover and deal with on her own. I wish my mother very much well. I do love my mother. But it feels good to be able to sit here and say, I do have purpose. I do have something to offer this world, but I do have something to offer myself first. And I am not a burden to my children. And I do have a right to be here, and I do deserve my life. That feels good to actually know it and believe it. And that now, if a thought tried to come, I could say, before I go straight to my children, that I am worthy. Now that I share that, I would like to say this. If you suspect someone that you love or know or work with or go to school with of being suicidal, they're doing things like they're donating things out of the blue, or they're saying things like the hints that I was trying to throw to my friends, like, what's the use of being here? What's the purpose of life? Why are we even here? Why is it even worth the pain? You're hearing words like this. Don't brush it under the table. If you live where that person lives, you keep them on the phone and you have them to explain to you, hey, you know, what's going on? You know, if they're just donating stuff and they're known to be a shopper, there's someone that stays in the stores. They can stand to spend less. Now, all of a sudden, you haven't heard anything about a minimalistic lifestyle. They've been watching some videos and now they want to organize and purge, but this is just spontaneous. Look into that. When someone is telling you they're going through something, I've heard this before. You're stronger than that. Don't tell a person they're stronger than that. The fact that they are there and able to tell you in that moment, they're able to give you a hint. They are giving you the best that they have. They are strong. They're fighting. They have done and they're fighting with all that they have. And sending out those subtle, indirect messages is the last hope. They're hoping that you hear their heart. They're saying, help me, without saying, help me. Don't say to them, oh, just pray about it, and this too shall pass. Or it's the devil. It's just the devil. Just rebuke the devil. That is not the time. If you are a praying person and if you feel this way, then pray for them while keeping them on the phone. Maybe text some other friends and family or something. Be like, hey, I need you to meet me at so-and-so house. Something's going on. I can feel it. I can feel that something is not right. But if you suspect that, that is not the time to tell them they're stronger than that, or to not be weak, or to not even say anything at all. Follow up. And if you call after you've heard something like that and you don't get an answer, pop up. Pop up. It is really that serious and that important. And for those of you that are watching that have lost a loved one to this topic, to suicide, my condolences to you, to your family, and everyone that loved your loved one and that is affected by their loss. This topic is a very serious and very heavy topic. And it is not something that when you have had these ideas and thoughts, this is not something you want to think. You don't want to feel like that's your best solution. But in that moment, you feel like you've done all you can. You feel hopeless. You feel like no one loves you or no one understands you, or that you're not worthy, or you're never getting out of this hell. You literally feel like you are in a hell. So if someone come to you and say, you know, if you do that, you're going to burn in hell, then you're looking at them like, I'm already in hell. I'm already in hell. I am hurting. And you're feeling like in that moment, nothing else can feel worse than this. And I don't know how to get out. And this is the only way I see out. So please don't judge a person, especially if you haven't been there. I don't wish feelings like this, or thoughts, or feeling of depression, or even having to even go through something so young, or any kind of experience, young or older, or any type of loss. I don't wish this feeling on anyone. But on behalf of anyone that has had the thought or will have the thought, I am telling you to please act with kindness and empathy towards your loved one. And when you hear those signals, don't brush it under the table. If something in you feel like something's off with that comment, then something is off with that comment. In the beginning of this video, I left the number to the National Suicide Hotline, and I will also put that information at the end of this video. If you or someone you know is suffering with depression, anxiety, if you're feeling hopeless, I'm telling you that your life is precious. You are beautiful, and please allow someone to help you to see when you can't see. Just give someone a chance to help you through the pain, to help you see that you do have purpose and you are needed, and that your mistakes, if you made any mistakes, Those mistakes, they don't define you. And if you're like me and you had things said to you as a child or in a romantic relationship, or you were bullied, everything they said, these people were low vibrational people that were hurting or had something going on that had nothing to do with you. However, they chose you. And it's nothing you've done. There's nothing you could have done or said to these people to deserve any of that. But you are beautiful. You are needed. And please allow the help. And know that as a collective, we love you. I hope you found this video helpful. This isn't an easy thing to share. It's very vulnerable. This is a very vulnerable thing to share, but I feel like doing so is important because it's a very important topic. It's a very serious and real topic. And if you know someone that could benefit from this video, please send them this video to watch. My thoughts and prayers are with you all. Many blessings to you all. And again, thank you so much for stopping by. Bye-bye for now.